Hi, everybody. Welcome back to All Caught Up. You may notice we're wearing the same clothes. This is not because we recorded all of these intros on the same day.
No, definitely not. I just wear the same clothes.
No shame. You're kind of like Steve Jobs. I honestly wish I had that sort of energy, so decision fatigue, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's essentially your mind can only handle X amount of decisions a day. And so a lot of experts or whatever will simplify stuff from like food to clothing to commute to whatever, just to lower the things they have to make decisions on.
That makes sense because sometimes when I'm overwhelmed, I'm like, well, I guess I'm wearing the same thing I wore yesterday.
We always joke about like depression foods or like stuff that is good to make when you're not feeling like you can cook or like you can't make the decision of what to eat. I think it's a perfect example of like that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I definitely had decision fatigue for a long time.
Anyway, this week on our show, our special guest is Shantina Lowe of the Lowe sisters. Went to college with Sean, Hannah, and I at Western Illinois University, and now is out here in LA doing big things. So I'm excited to catch up with her and hear what's been going on.
Yes, we are spoiled for her to come on our podcast because she is going to be famous and we are just going to be the podcast she was on that one time. And I can't wait to be that podcast.
I think I'm going to ask her to teach me to riff on air.
Ooh, that would be fun. I'm going to ask her if we ever got drunk in college together and I made a fool of myself.
It's basically the same thing.
All in the same.
Enjoy the episode. Speaking of, let's just dive right into my favorite question on this list. Shantina, do you remember meeting Hannah at any parties in college?
Please say no.
Lucky for you, Hannah, I was very drunk at
Thank you.
a lot of those parties. So, no, unfortunately.
Perfect. That's perfect because I was like, if I met her at a party at Tom's, there's no chance I remember.
Yeah. I was going to say, if it was at the cabin, cannot even tell you what was happening.
I joke about this, but I'm also dead serious. If the grid goes off, you know what I mean? If we are without power, if the world is ending, all roads lead to Macomb. I tell all my friends that. I was like, we're meeting in Macomb. I don't care where you are.
All roads lead to Macomb.
Go to Macomb, bring your families, and we're starting a life there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I hope Chicks is end of the world proof.
When you're on that campus, so I was there for a couple weeks in April, and it feels like the world stops. Is the rest of the world like, what's their news happening? Is anything going on? Because I was so consumed with just Western Illinois University for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. It was kind of fun to be back. I was
What did you go back for?
I set a piece for UDT, which is now UDC. I set a dance piece for them, and then I just like taught some dance classes. Got to see some people, but I was also working my other job too.
Since you went to Western with all of us, what's your favorite memory from Western? Anything legal that you can share?
Anything legal? It's probably going to be a show. It actually, Maddie starred as the lead in a show that went on to become one of my favorite musicals ever, and I still listen to the soundtrack to this day, like probably once a week, and that's Merrily We Roll Along. That was the first live theater show that I was a part of that I was not like on stage for, because I did the soundboard for that. I feel like that's where my love for theater really like grew, because I got a chance to see things from a different perspective than when I normally see it, you know? Yeah, that's literally one of my favorite memories, because that really said, first of all, I believe that was my first musical that I saw there at Western. It was just so good. The music was so good. The dancing was so good. The singing, the acting. I loved it. I loved all of it. And I was like, wow, like people do this for real. Like I was doing theater in high school and stuff like that. And then we took it seriously, you know, but I guess I didn't realize how like that you could really do it after high school and not for like an extracurricular activity, but like for a living. That's like one of the moments where my eyes is open to that. So I was really, really excited about that. And I held on to that moment. I love that musical.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That was such a good memory. I love that you can actually speak on a podcast appropriately. This is going to be tough for me. You're a really good guest already. This is going to be tough.
Thank you. I've listened to a lot of podcasts though.
Oh no.
I told Hannah that. I was like, you just need to listen to some more podcasts and you'll feel fine. But she's doing great. Don't let her fool you.
No, it's so bad.
I am thinking very hard about it. What did they call it? What is it called? Something syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yep.
Let's see. Okay, so for people who don't know you, you grew up in Chicago, correct?
Yes.
What part of Chicago? We like to discuss what is Chicago. You know what I mean?
You know, Chicago. Well, I should say Chicago because like nobody would know where I was from. Do you guys curse on this podcast?
Hell yeah, we do. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. But I've just moved around the suburbs a lot, the south suburbs of Chicago. And instead of telling people that I'm like all the way from Bumfuck, Illinois, I just tell them that I'm from Chicago, it's south side, but it's been a lot of different cities, like kind of outside of that. That's kind of what it's the same for like a lot of people on each side, west, south, north.
Yeah,
they all like people just kind of migrate in because a lot of the work and stuff is in Chicago.
Yeah, so. I have a decent amount of friends that are from like the actual Chicagoland area and not the suburbs. I've never thought about how you can just be like, oh, north side, south side, east side, west side, whatever. But
yeah,
to me that makes more sense. If I was like from one of the suburbs, I would be like, oh, south side of Chicago, opposed to just being like Chicago. I don't know.
Because I'm literally like, the longest place that I lived, it was like 15 minutes outside of Chicago. So I'm like, I might as well say Chicago. But an ex-friend of mine used to really be like, no, like, if you're from Chicago, like, only if you lived in Chicago, it's like, you got to say you're from Chicago. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not going to tell these people, like, I'm from Calumet City because they're going to be like, what the fuck is that? Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
So,
and I get it, especially when you're traveling, like, outside of the Midwest, because if I say I'm from Indiana, people will literally like, I didn't know people lived there. Like out here, I literally had someone say that to me at a party over the weekend. Yes, I was like, it's just like, yes. What do you mean?
You thought they
were like, no, people
made something a state, right?
Yeah.
I guess when you think about it, like Indianapolis is the only city people probably somewhat know of. So I'm sure people are just like, oh, I didn't think people really came from anywhere besides there, maybe. I don't know.
It's okay. I feel like I'm the same way about like Wyoming or like, you know, just
Montana. Like, who's in Montana?
Who's in Montana? Hannah is in Montana.
You're right. You're right.
So who are your favorite Chicago artists?
I have a lot of like independent artists that I'm really into. No Name is one of my all-time favorites. I love like Raven Lenae, Saba. I have a friend named Ami. I love her. She's out there. But like really big ones though, Kanye, you know, he's from out there. He's one of my favorites. I love Common. I don't know, because my focus has been like on the smaller artists in Chicago who I'm always networking with and performing, being around. And
for people who don't know, she's a singer, she's a writer, she's an actress, she does it all. How long have you been singing? How long have you known that like this was what you were doing?
I've been singing since I was 27 now, so that's like 23 years. I don't know. I wanted to be a nurse when I was growing up. My mom had gotten like really sick when I was in like middle school, and I helped nurse herself back to health and things like that. So I was like, oh, I feel like that's my calling. I'm going to be a nurse. But then when I was in high school, like the choir director at my school for like our gospel choir had quit, and they were looking for a director. And I had directed like with my dad in church, and he directed at, well, I don't know if you guys know, but it's at Homewood Flossmoor. He was the choir director there for a while, so he had kind of let me practice a little bit. Someone knew that. I don't know how they found that out in my school, but they asked me to be the choir director.
Wow.
And so I was the choir director while I was still at the school. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be doing this for a living because like they're paying me to do this right now. And then I met my now ex, and we were together, and he was producing music, and we ended up going to a writing camp called the Writing Lab in Chicago. And like all of this happened by accident. Like it's like I kind of fell into it. Like even though I've been singing my whole life, you just don't think when you're like a teenager that you could really do this for a living. I mean, like you see artists, but you're like, oh, that's like a 1 in a million thing. Like Kanye West, like everybody doesn't become a Kanye West. And everybody doesn't. But I just didn't know that there were so many other avenues that you can travel down in the music industry. You don't have to be like a big artist, though that's an option too. It just kind of happened along the way, I feel like. And then I eventually made songs, turned into albums, that turned to music videos and all of the things.
How would you describe your personal genre?
People really ask me that. I have asked me that for years, and I still don't know how to answer that question. It's like, okay, there's the influence of R&B, soul, of course, but I love like pop. That's like my guilty pleasure. So there's an influence in there with that. Of course, because I grew up in church, like the gospel influence is also going to be there. I listen to a lot of rap and stuff too. So it's like that influence is in there. So it's like a mixture of, and they call that genre like alternative now. They just put that in alternative. So I don't know what else to label it, but I just know that it's spiritual. No matter what kind of sound it has, whether it has an R&B feel or a pop feel, it's going to be spiritual.
I'm listening to an audiobook and it's about Zen Buddhism and Taoism, but it was talking about meditation and how in like Japanese culture with one of like the monk systems or whatever, they have like specific words for like sitting meditation and like standing meditation and whatever. And so they were talking about how like there has to be words for like, you know, all these different things. And then they branched into how music is actually meditation. And I'm like, absolutely. It's prayer, it's meditation, it's spiritual when done right. And I think when you don't realize it, it's still kind of that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why we end up with some songs that we're just like, oh, do we actually know what we're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, that's calculated. So people put things and messages in music all the time that, you know, want people to be influenced by. And once you repeat it, get it into your subconscious, which is basically what that is doing. It's in there. It's in there. You will be influenced and be like, oh, didn't realize I wanted to shake my ass, but now I do. And
No.
now I do. Yeah, music is powerful. I love it.
Who would you want to collab with for a song or an album?
Beyonce, please.
If only. All right. You heard it here first. Beyonce, call her.
Beyonce, please.
Get her now.
This is so overwhelming.
I mean, I would. I absolutely would love that. My sister is actually on her new song. She's singing the choir on Break My Soul. So she's on there.
I'm sorry. That's some hot goss.
Some hot goss. I'm still in that.
You should. Absolutely. It's hot goss.
Now we're like only separated by like one person. So.
Oh my God. That's so awesome. See?
Was she ever like in the space with Beyonce, or was it like?
Oh yeah, So they're gonna be putting out a video and stuff like that. So she'll be in the video.
That's
I think
awesome.
at that point that's when she was in like the same space as her. Right.
So
but
awesome.
for real, I really want to collab with Drake. Drake has literally been one of my favorite artists since I was a freshman in high school or something.
Did you watch him in Degrassi?
I did. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, good.
It's Jimmy.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
I miss Degrassi.
Right?
I think there's another, like, I know there was Next Gen. I know there was the one that came out, like, even after that. I think there's another one coming out.
I wonder what that's going to look
like.
Rose eyes.
So Drake's album, I truthfully have only listened to a couple songs on it. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but like I'm really into the dance influence that everyone's just like doing this year.
Yeah. It's called house music, which actually originated in Chicago. We're loving it.
Canadian?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. House parties or music parties that use like a lot of house music be bumping, and people just dance for hours without stopping.
So outside of Chicago artists, who were some of your like biggest influences?
A lot of gospel artists. It has many answers because I different phases of my life I was listening to like different genres of music, and I would like spend time diving into that genre. When I was maybe like elementary school to like middle school, because I was in church all the time, I would definitely be diving into like gospel music. So like Mary, Fred Hammonds, love a Kirk Franklin. Yeah, love a Andre Crouch. Love all of them. And then when I got into high school, I really was diving into rock and pop and alternative music. At that time, it was like a lot of random, like, you know how like it would be like random EDM artists coming out and just dropping like one song and then like disappearing and stuff like that. I would be into like, you know, those songs or whatever. And then when I got to college, I dove more into like musical theater. I really love 80s music and stuff too. That's probably one of my biggest. I love 80s
rock.
pop. I love Cyndi Lauper. She's like more pop, but I love Cyndi Lauper. I love Foreigner.
So Maddie was saying that you are on TikTok.
Yes. Bless you.
Maddie, please, we're doing an interview. Oh my God. Anyway, so you're on TikTok. How does that as a platform help you grow as a performer and artist?
TikTok is one of the best things that could have ever happened for creatives in general, but especially independent artists, because you literally have a way to directly get to like your fan base and build a fan base by literally just posting content, and if people gravitate toward it and they like it, then you got a fan base. And like that literally just gives the middleman of having to go through a label and sign over all of your creative properties just to get that kind of support, or just doing all of the heavy other types of like promotion and marketing. It's like one of the easiest ways to promote yourself and whatever it is that you're creating. TikTok is the best thing that ever happened to me. I say.
Yeah.
Not the best thing that ever happened to me. That's that's a little much. Sad.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, that's for sure. And it has benefited me in no way, and it's still the best thing. So
crazy how much I learned on TikTok.
Everything I know is from that app.
Oh, come on, you're a natural. I can tell already.
Yeah,
I learn new stuff every single day from
yes. Who is your favorite TikToker right now? To both of you.
Well, I'd have to say myself, because I am that double Leo.
Period. And you're that girl.
I am.
She is funny though. Like, I'll give her that. I'm really into clean talk right now. Just like learning cleaning things. Sometimes when I'm stressed out, instead of cleaning my own home, I'll watch other people clean theirs.
Same feeling. Boom.
Yeah, you get the satisfaction without having to do the work.
A millennial.
Right. That was such a millennial thing to say.
Proudly.
Just care about the feeling. That's it.
It's about the vibe. You know what I mean? That's all it's about this year. If the vibe's wrong, get out, you know?
Get Out. Is that a movie to watch? Because that's one that I have not watched yet.
It's a very good movie. You should watch it. And actually, what's funny?
Is it scary?
Dan Kaluuya, I literally just sang at his not a birthday party. It was not a birthday party, but he threw a party.
Are you famous?
Singers there.
You're famous.
You're
not famous. You're famous.
I'm gonna start sweating. I can't do this.
When I tell you I am not the famous friend, I am never the famous friend.
I'm not the famous friend either.
No, you are. I can't just... I just said someone's random name and you're like, yeah, I sang at their party. What?
Because it just happened. It literally just happened like this past weekend. And I met Cynthia Erivo. And that's why I was like, I'm screaming out. Like, I don't know what to do with myself, my life, my anything. I can't breathe.
Is it after like the BT Awards this past weekend?
It was like a couple days before. So I think maybe the party was a part of like BET Weekend or something.
I was gonna say there were a few events that I know people that were like peripherally around things that happened, but I was not there.
It's okay.
Sorry, I was debating if I was going to ask the question, were there any like crazy dream jobs you wanted when you were younger? Like obviously to be a singer, but we already talked about her wanting to be a nurse, so I think I'm going to skip it. Unless you have a good answer.
Probably a lawyer. Like if all else fails and I never want to do like music again or be in entertainment again, I would probably go to law school. My mom literally used to tell me all my life, you would be a great lawyer. You should be a lawyer. You'd be a great lawyer. And I'm like, I do like to argue. I do. And,
yeah.
you know, for real, I would definitely go into being a lawyer.
I would like to be a lawyer. Would you want to do like entertainment law maybe?
I guess maybe I feel like entertainment and criminal law are like the most interesting ones. Everything else, I'm going to be like dreading going to work.
I have an uncle who's a retired lawyer now. Towards the end of his career was like, if you want to be depressed, to be a lawyer.
I don't have to be a lawyer to do that, okay?
Yeah, right? Well, America needs to watch it because this past week, they almost forced me to sign up to take LSAT again with this bullshit Roe v. Wade stuff. Because
I don't, at this point, why can't y'all just leave shit alone?
God bless America.
Don't touch that. Don't touch that. Stop
Right.
touching
What are
stuff.
we
That's what I
doing?
want to tell them. Stop touching
Right.
stuff. There are plenty of things that we don't have policies for right now that need policies. Why are you guys going back and touching?
thank you.
I mean, now there are some other things that need to be touched too, but it's just, it's too much. I don't even want to.
The fact that 3 women can't sit here and put together formulated sentences about this is because it's so insane and overwhelming that this is even happening to people in 2022. It's mind-boggling. You can't process it.
Exactly. My thing is, why do you guys need so much control over anybody's bodies? You know, let alone women's. Like,
Right.
why?
Just let them do what they want.
Fucking business.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Ideally, somewhere in a very nice house with very nice weather outside, making some residual income. Probably would still be performing. It depends. If my life turns out like Beyonce's, then I'll definitely still be performing because I really want to get into community service type things. Seeing how I can actually solve an issue and not just out here singing and stuff like that. I want to be able to change, even if it's like the nature of the business, which it probably will be. It'll probably be something like in the music business, maybe. I've been thinking about like, you know, seeing how we can go about like getting artists paid more from like their streaming. We don't see a lot of that money returned back to us from like our streaming, which sucks because we put so much like time and money into it with like making albums and stuff like that. And now that I've gone through that process a few times, I just see how much it takes with paying for like recording studios, especially independent artists. When you're signed to a label, they help you with all of these things, but you still have to pay that money back. So either way, like whether you're independent or signed to a label, it's so many things that go into you being a successful artist, and like building a fan base is actually lucrative, and you're actually like seeing a return on everything that you do. Streaming is one of those things that I feel like artists should be making more money from, because that's their music. If people is listening to my song because they like my song and that is my creative genius that they are appreciating, why shouldn't I be getting the money for that? Absolutely. Even if I'm like, especially since I'm not signed to a label, like, you know.
Going back to Chicago artists, one of the artists that like really opened my eyes to this actually being a thing in the industry is Chance. And him, like his first album that, I mean, when he dropped Acid Rap online or whatever, I had to like download it to be able to listen to it or whatever. I was like, why isn't it on Spotify or whatever? I remember then like learning more about him and like him being an independent artist and all of that. And I was like, oh, I like get why that would be a thing.
Exactly.
As a singer, I don't really write my own stuff. I'm not much of a independent artist or vocalist in that way. I sing other people's music.
Well, yeah.
So I never had really thought about it like that. And yeah, he's my favorite Chicago artist.
Yeah, I should have mentioned him because I love Chance. I love Chance so much. I think he's gearing up to drop a project too.
I was gonna say he had a music video or something drop like a week ago.
And shout out to Chance because he is one of those artists that's trying to do things a different way, you know. to actually make the money from his music. It's hard to do that on streaming platforms. And now that people don't really buy CDs and stuff like that anymore.
So in the last year, you moved to LA.
Yeah.
You've dropped some new music. What else have you been doing in the last year? Anything fun?
I actually moved to Atlanta and then to LA. That's been actually taking up a lot of my life because I never moved outside of Chicago before like last year.
Takes it out of you.
Yes, for real. And LA is a whole different ballgame. So still trying to get acclimated out here, but like, it's been a really, really cool experience. And I've been able to do stuff like the Daniel Kaluuya thing, or I moved out here to sing with Kanye, the Sunday Service Choir with Kanye West. So I was doing that for some months. And that was like a really good experience because I came in the door networking with like other artists, singers, songwriters. And I mean, they do a whole bunch of other stuff, but it just opened me up to a really large network of creatives. And so I've just been networking, trying to just settle here a little bit more. I took a small like step back from creating music just for like personal reasons or whatever, but this last year has been me, I guess, relearning myself, because I thought I knew, but I was wrong. And so I really have been doing that, like moving on your own and being like by yourself will teach you a lot about yourself, obviously, and life.
Did you like Atlanta?
I did like Atlanta because it was like one of my first experiences going to events and stuff like that I wouldn't be able to get in Chicago. Like a lot of things were like right down the street. I went to a SoundCloud event, like a Revolt Summit, which is like Diddy's network or whatever, and they showcase like a lot of Black talent, Black podcasts, just like Black culture and news. That's basically what it is. And like I wouldn't have as much access to that staying in Chicago. And so when I moved to Atlanta, all of that was like right down the street, and I saw a lot of like, just like Black millionaires, billionaires and stuff like that, and seeing that is just really inspiring.
Yeah.
So I really liked it for that. But then once I got the call to come out here, I was like, well, this has been fun. I'm gonna go ahead and make my way to the West Coast.
You're like, this has been super inspiring, but I've got to go.
But I mean, it was cool though. It was cool. A lot more opportunity out here. There's opportunity there, but
yeah.
So like out here is like saturated with opportunity.
There's something new to do every single day. Like there's a different festival every day.
Exactly. And I like that. I like being in the warm weather. I like seeing the mountains on my way on a drive home. Like all of that is worth it to me.
Absolutely. I'm an environment person and I'm a sunshine person. Yes, and being here, like within a week, I was like, I just noticed myself feeling just a little bit lighter at all times.
Yes.
Because you always know it's going to be pretty nice outside.
Exactly.
So what do you have coming down the pipeline that you can share with us?
My sisters and I auditioned for America's Got Talent this season. Fingers crossed we're going to get aired. I think we're going to get aired, but just fingers crossed because technically I can't say.
Do they tell you if you're not going to get aired?
No. Pretty good chance of it. Just by kind of how they ask you to audition and stuff like that. And that was a really cool experience because Simon didn't hate us.
How did he look in person?
He looks like how he looks on TV. It's like a regular guy. Like, I don't know.
He's just like so terrifying.
Exactly. That's what we were saying the whole time we were back there, like getting ready to go on stage. We were just like, I hope Simon likes this because
the thing of my childhood.
That's not what he did at all. He asked us a couple questions, asked us to sing a cappella. And we did it, and he loved it. His wife loved it. His wife said that we reminded her of like 90s girl group SWV type vibe. So we thought that was a good sign,
Yeah.
Did you get to like watch other people perform, or were you just like in holding rooms and stuff all day?
Yeah, we were in interviews literally all day from the time we got there to even after we performed. We had interviews and had to shoot like B-roll and all types of stuff. So I didn't get a chance to like really see what the other acts were doing. There's this other group, I don't even know where they said they were from, somewhere in Africa, and they're like a gymnastics team. And I only knew what they were doing because in the hotel lobby, they were doing all kinds of flips and just holding each other in the air. And I'm like, you guys, we're supposed to be getting tested for COVID right now, okay? But it was fun though. Like, and I saw their act, and I'm like, oh, I know that they probably are gonna go crazy, and they did.
Sometimes some of those like gymnastics, like people climbing on other people,
Right. I don't know what's the
thing, like they stress me. I get very nervous.
Oh yeah, my anxiety is
Acrobatic. We went on our honeymoon to Jamaica, and we were in like a sandals all-inclusive resort. So naturally, there was entertainment every night. And one of the first nights is like carnival, and they have this band and group of people that come in, and there's a bunch of like acrobatics and gymnasts, and they do fire things, and it was a lot. I was just like very nervous for their safety the entire time. I was like, what if you catch on fire? You are putting that in your mouth.
I want to go there so bad. I want to go to a sandals so bad.
I cannot recommend them enough.
Oh,
they're the best. I loved it.
I have to go. I have to go to one. I must.
If you're hearing this, person who ends up marrying Hannah, take her to a sandals resort.
At any point. It would not even when it's a honeymoon. At any point, if you want to take me.
That could be your answer to this next question. We like to ask our guests if they were like a brand spokesperson or like an influencer for any brand or product or company. Yours can be sandals if you want, Hannah.
Might be.
Probably Savage Fenty ambassador. I really love
There you go.
that lingerie. Like, it slays, even though I don't have any of the products yet. And then my second choice would be Yitty. Like, Yitty is, I love the shapewear idea.
It looks great. I've watched so many like try-on hauls of just different people trying on.
Yeah, and I'm like, those
and it looked really
adorable.
nice. There's a,
Yeah.
I want to say it's like in Glendale, but I think there's a store in a mall right now for Yitty. Yeah, it's like the one like showroom or whatever of it, because
Yeah,
Liz
I didn't know
posted
where
a
it
video.
was.
I think it's in Glendale.
I'm gonna go check that out.
I was gonna say it's the mall that it's in or whatever is tagged in the post that Lizzo did from the release that she did at that location. So it's definitely on her Instagram.
I didn't even realize that they would a store. I didn't know Fashion Nova was had a real store until I got out here. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Or what's the other? There's like a Dolls Kill.
Yes, there is absolutely a Dolls Kill. And I have been there because they had a sample sale. My entire life was made.
There's always like fun statement pieces on their website
Yes.
that I
On Dolls
get
Kill.
targeted.
Yes, they have some of they have a Wizard of Oz collab. It's amazing. They have like a bunch of collabs, like a Powerpuff Girls collab. Yes, the statement pieces they're king on there for real, and I love
They
them.
always have great boots, jackets, and jumpers, and all sorts of cute stuff.
Unmatched. They are unmatched in my book. They're my favorite right now. So no, okay, Dolls Kill is gonna be my number one. Sorry. I'm gonna have to move Savage Fenty down to 2 and Yitty to 3, and Dolls Kill is gonna be number 1 because I'm obsessed.
Rihanna, Lizzo, you heard it here. You chose Dolls Kill, so that means you have to prove your worth. You know what I mean?
They're like, girl,
Rihanna.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a great time with our wonderful guest.
We want to thank Shantina for joining us. It's been such a pleasure. We'll see you next time.
I hope you got all caught up.
Adios.
I hate these.